Okay, so next up we have Robert Craig from Supermassive. Robert, where's Robert? Rob? Oh, there we go. Hey, you go. He is going to talk to us about using high-quality cinematics to nail your pitch without breaking the bank. I like that. Absolutely.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here today. I'm Robert from Supermassive. I'm the studio art director there. So I support all of our projects in the creative and artistic areas. Supermassive, in case you've not heard of us, we make dark fiction horror games that are narrative adventures where the players kind of interact in the story and make choices. But just in case you're not familiar with our stuff, I've prepared a quick reel to take a look at. Okay, so that's some of our past and future projects from Supermassive. And what this talk's really about today is how we can get ideas across. It's a big part of what I do there, and that covers both creative aspects and technical aspects. And the project I'm going to talk to you about today was conceived as a way to do that with our teams. So when we were looking at moving to Unreal 5 as a studio, I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this. Sometimes game dev teams can be quite set in their ways, the way they've always done things, and it can be hard to break away from that. So I wanted to do a trial project where we could test out some new workflows, new ideas, new ways of doing things, and use that as a sort of visual showcase to get the teams excited and to kind of inspire them for our next round of games. But the problems with that was when I suggested the idea, we were busy with a lot of other projects and a lot of other games, so there wasn't much budget available and there was no team available. And I also had to keep going with my day job, so it was the old games industry thing of nasty old realism raining on my parade again. But I wanted to do it anyway, so pressed ahead. And in doing so, I found that a lot of the newer tools that have come into the engine recently, specifically Unreal 5 I'm talking about here, of course, really made this task more efficient and to get better results than I thought. So I want to talk a bit about that today. And the two main things that I've kind of seen is that the quality gap is really closed between Unreal and previous tools I might have used to do this work before, like Maya, Arnold, that kind of thing. And there's been a democratization of some technically challenging processes that used to be very expensive and very difficult. They're now much easier and more attainable in the engine. So that's kind of what this is about. And it just means that I think ideas can go bigger. You can iterate things faster. You can see results straight in the engine and get to a better place artistically. And it's a great canvas for prevising your ideas, for trailers, for kind of almost cutting the line and jumping ahead to quite a final visual very early in the process. So that's kind of what this is about, and the work that I'm about to show, it kind of started off with this brief, but ended up kind of being a labor of love. It was a really fun project to do, and it was then used as something to kind of challenge these workflows and ways of doing things in the studio, which we're now kind of yielding good results for. But it was also a great framework for other projects and other pitches and trailers and things that we've done since. So without further ado, let's take a look. Oh, it didn't play. Let's try that again. Bear with us. It would be really bad if this doesn't play, because the whole thing's kind of about this. I do have a backup video on a memory card that I could go and get, but yeah, sorry about this, everyone. Yeah, it's funny because the last one worked okay, so I thought this one was the same way. Bear with us. All right.
Get it to play.
Okay, well, I guess it's kind of going to be a bit pointless, but basically, I was going to just go in and show some making of, but I think without seeing the actual video, it's probably not ideal. Let's see if I've got any images of it. I'll skip ahead to this where we can kind of see the process in Unreal. So the idea was to come up with an idea for a shot and kind of find references, sketch it out, then block out that environment in Unreal here with kind of big shapes first, trying to get the broad composition, and then look to set up what I'd call the scene photography, so get all the camera settings and the base photography in, and look at the sky and the lighting and that kind of thing. Then to specify the final camera and lens, and once that was done, we'd add the nanite geometry and get all the high poly stuff in that lights a bit better. And then I used a sort of library of Xsense animation that I shot for this to kind of add character to then get the final shot. So you can kind of see the end result here. Just imagine that moving, and you're kind of there. So the idea was for it to feel quite big, but be really efficient in effort, because it was kind of not much budget to it. So some of the principles were to build everything to camera, so to kind of get the camera in early, and to then only work to that, to try and make the most of library assets that are available, things like Megascans and other libraries, and to pick your battles and choose to spend time on what really made a difference in the shots, and to kind of know when the time was right to move on. And the key tech in Unreal that really helped with this project was nanite, to allow to get models in a bit quicker, so we could kind of sometimes come straight from Sculpt and not have to go through retopo and that kind of thing, and build the scenes a bit quicker. Lumen to be able to iterate the look and the lighting really quickly with kind of real-time update. Mesh to MetaHuman, it's really the key one. It allows you to take advantage of the MetaHuman rig for both body and face, but to use your own custom character within that, and it's really effective. And then MetaHuman Animator, which lets you get quite high quality mocap for body and face within the MetaHuman system. So in terms of the environments, I'll just give a quick making of. So here's one of the final shots in Unreal. You can see, and how this would be put together would be to have large chunks in Gaia for the mountains that you can see in the background here, and then to have a small detailed area that would be close to camera here. And that would be filled with usually photogrammetry, either Megascans or assets that I'd create myself. And then very kind of close-up areas would get foliage paint and that kind of thing. And you would get that kind of end result. So it really kind of, like I say, prioritizing what's near to camera. And same for interiors, so just blocking the big shapes and then looking to fill out the detail with library assets. So for the characters, the process I used was what I would describe as digital casting, was to look for online resources, such as 3D Scan Store, shout out to them, to find a likeness that you appreciated for the character you designed, and then to ingest that scan into MetaHuman, then to work on shading and all that kind of thing to get your final result. So here you can see on the left the raw scan ingested into the MetaHuman system, and on the right the final character after all the texturing and makeup is applied. And the second character. The big win for us really was in the lighting and camera workflow, which we're now using in the studio. So it's a physically based workflow, and how it works is to simulate real shooting conditions, so to kind of choose your time of day, weather, and everything that you want, and then to model the assets in Unreal from real-world data. So here we'd take the lux value for whichever time of day we wanted and get that into the directional light in Unreal, and then use that as a cue to meter all the other elements. So here, for example, the HDRI used in the scene is metered to the lux of the directional light, and then we use manual exposure to make sure the photography that's seen, all that makes sense for the kind of conditions that we're simulating. And what you get with that is a relationship between light and camera that is then tied, and you can adjust the photography shot to shot to get the results you want. So here's one of the final shots from the video that we didn't get to see. And here example as well, so you can see here the aperture of the camera is just being opened up to get the right sort of amount of light exposed to get the final shot, and the top right corner there shows the raw that is the scene for that. So that worked super well for us. We're using that for a lot of projects now. It gets really realistic results, and it's very easy to do. In terms of the sort of character lighting for the final shots, it was quite minimal what had to be added, but you can see the difference here from left to right with just the base environment lights, and then the final result with extra sort of character-focused lights. And then onto the performance capture. So how we got the animation and data in was the body data was shot with XNs, which is a mocap solution that we have within Supermassive to do quick turnaround mocap. So we created a sort of a library of different bits of body animation that could kind of go within all the scenes, and then used the MetaHuman animator app from Epic on the iPhone to capture the face, which you see a little example of there of some of my amazing acting. The secret sauce for this is to use the head movement that you get from the phone. I think a lot of people would just take the body and use all of the body animation to get the character performance, but if you take the head movement, tying together the facial expressions and the way the head moves is really key to avoid an uncanny valley. And you can just disable the bones from the neck up on the MetaHuman rig and import it from the face performance instead, and it gets really good results. And I would just like to say a big thanks to Salem Baxter, who played the main role in the video that we, again, didn't get to see, unfortunately, but she did an awesome job. You can just take my word from it. So that's it from me. Again, apologies that the video didn't work, but the idea was about producing something that feels really quite high quality in a way that's flexible, is really cheap, and requires a small team to shortcut towards final visuals to kind of really help previs ideas on projects or use for trailers. And it's kind of a great equalizer if you've got a small team, because you get access to tools and tech that previously were very unattainable. But if you're lucky enough to have a big budget or a big team, this just means you can go large and scale up and do something even more ambitious. So thanks again. Come and have a chat with me afterwards and say hello. It'd be great to meet some of you. And that's it, unless there are any questions.
Thank you very much. I thought that was fantastic. I know you didn't get to the video, but I actually think you gave some really good insight in terms of using existing tools, which are very accessible, and how to apply them using very simple techniques. And you know, the level of quality which is obvious simply through the stills about the impact that you can have with kind of landscape views, with facial views, you know, the tools like MetaHuman, like Graphite, all those things, to be able to take the assets you've got and make them interesting. For me, most of the trailers I had to make were all around like small multiplayer games. I mean, we had a few cozy game things to do as well, but I only had the resources of the gameplay footage. But that's okay, because you frame the moments in the story. You think about, in that place, where am I going to get the awareness? How am I going to grab the attention of the viewer? That's, to me, is the important factor. It's grab the attention of the viewer and tell them the story that makes them want to actually go find out more. And you don't have to do that with all of the graphical intensity. But it turns out you can have the graphical intensity, even if you're a smaller studio. So for me, I think you did a smashing job with that. Just wanted to say that. Anyone got any questions? They got a question over here. I saw the hand go up over there first.
Hello.
Thanks so much. Really beautiful presentation, and yeah, all the shots of all the games that you showed look absolutely gorgeous. I have a question related to that. I feel like we've known that film and games are getting closer and closer to one another. Historically, I think a lot of game developers have taken inspiration from film. Recently, we're starting to see Hollywood kind of notice, wow, these game guys, they know a thing or two about telling stories. Are you guys starting to see any questions, interest from Hollywood where they're saying, hey, we have a movie idea, but we want to make a trailer first, we want to make a game idea first? Are we seeing Previs land appreciating what games can do and what we can do with engines?
Sure, absolutely. I do think that's happening. I think the crossover of ideas is kind of becoming a lot more equal now. I think when I started to get into this stuff, so I've been at Supermassive about 13, 14 years, and it was very much, let's look at what they do in film and see if we can bring that to the world of games and try and do as well as we can with that. But I mean, recently we've seen so many games kind of cross over into the cinema space, right? And we've seen, movies that aren't even a game, but ideas from gaming kind of permeate in them. I mean, if you look at something like 1914, the World War I movie, that's the one shot. To me, it feels so much like a game in some scenes. It could be kind of a big budget shooter. So I think we are seeing that a lot, and we have seen some teams from the film world get in touch early and look at some IPs before they're even out there. So I think the world of cinema is looking to mine ideas and cultural things within gaming as a sort of new kind of trend, yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's that new. A few years ago, I interviewed the woman who did the Interstellar Black Hole. I interviewed a whole bunch of people from Framestore, Double Negative, all those kind of guys. And they are exactly the same skill groups that were doing the VFX in games. They are literally, in some cases, people who've switched between game teams and film teams. But I want to challenge that. I don't think film is the people we want to be talking to. I don't think film have done a great job of handling the value of an IP for a game. The ones who've done the best jobs have been TV shows, Fallout, Last of Us, things like that. And actually what we should be connecting ourselves with is soap operas, not film, because soap operas matches the audience's behavior in the games environment, not film. That's not... We don't mostly play games and then leave them. We want to stay in worlds.
A bit more long form narratively, generally. So the TV kind of show model sometimes is a direct fit. Like when we did Until Dawn, we looked at the TV show model for the narrative. So we split it up into sort of 12 episodes and tried to write the story that way. So I think you've seen it's quite a natural fit, like you say, with Last of Us. And
I think you've hit a really important nail. Is that we don't have to be one thing. There are so many options. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Last of Us as a game does have that more film narrative, but it also creates those barriers. I mean, we're talking about narrative here rather than visuals, but we have the capacity to create anything we imagine, and the tools make it incredibly accessible for us to be able to communicate that to everybody in our audience. We should just be doing more experiments. Anyway, Bob, thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.